I personally really like this idea, so hopefully you will too. Hopefully. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today I am going to talk about something interesting, something different, just a little piece of my brain. I want to bring an idea to the table for consideration at your table, not only in the world lore, but also for your player characters and for your players. It's worshiping evil gods. That's kind of where we're all going here. Worshiping evil gods and all that kind of stuff. See, I have two problems whenever it comes to evil gods in D&D. One, they are often taboo, so they are often neglected and left behind unless they are the specific reason that the plot is going on, that is currently going on. They'll become a focus, but it's only that god. You don't get to see them. You don't get to see how evil gods interact with the everyday world and outside of, oh, they're suddenly trying to do something evil, we must stop them. You know, you only get cults. That's all you get. And then two, worshiping an evil god tends to make one evil. And that clashes quite a bit with heroic characters. It can be done, and I've seen it done before, where one character is evil and the rest of the characters are heroic. But it relies on the evil person being adept and skilled at being a player, which is not something that always comes together. I would like to introduce an option that not only allows the lore of the evil gods to be front and center and just as portrayed as neutral and good gods, but also allows player characters to expand on their lore and how they interact with the gods themselves by worshiping evil gods for their mercy. Yeah, that's kind of where this is all going. This is my thought. Worshiping evil gods for mercy. This all started whenever I was making Vensenk, which is my goddess Sea and Storm. And the goddess Sea and Storm is evil. Like he is an evil man. I portray the sea as a very treacherous, evil, dangerous place. Like deep sea exploration or is not a thing in my world, right? Because it's very dangerous to go across the sea. I wanted to create a way to make Vensenk more important than just the little bit that was in his book. So I wrote this. In the God section in my book, underneath Vensenk, it says, Vensenk is the only evil god that you will regularly see churches for, typically in coastal towns dotted along the waters. These salt clerics do not worship Vensenk, but beg for his mercy on behalf of the town so that they may be spared from the doom that Vensenk offers. Many places hold melancholy ceremonies in his name in a desperate attempt for him to look away and turn a blind eye to their ship. As it seems Vensenk responds to this worship, an entire section of the Navy has now been devoted to worshiping his mercy. So in the world that I have created, the Wayward Arrow setting, you are able to worship Vensenk for his mercy, for him to steer away from the ships. And what that has done is that has created multiple things for player characters to interact with. One of which some of my player characters actually interacted with in one of my past D&D shows that I don't know if the VODs exist anymore, but we opened that show to one of the mercy ceremonies for Vensenk, where the magistrate of the town of Zalgus was to be cast into the sea naked in front of the entire town as an offering before hurricane season. And that was what, where my player characters found themselves whenever he was attacked by, and they tried to assassinate him at this very interesting moment in time where he was naked and vulnerable, trying to be vulnerable for his people, but ended up being vulnerable for his life. I think doing it this way really, really opens up the world and allows you to not only create more stuff for your player characters to interact with, more somber stuff for your player characters to interact with, more interesting stuff for your player characters to interact with, but it also creates more stuff for you to just lore dump about and to create and make up and think about, and, you know, festivals and sacrifices. And it just kind of opens up a whole other world whenever you think, oh, I can worship something so that it doesn't happen. One of the other ones that I was thinking about was the goddess of famine. I do have a goddess of famine, and it was very, very interesting to me to have player characters have to go on this pilgrimage for some farmer or some farming town so that they make sure that the goddess of famine doesn't come and get them. I feel like you could also do a lot of stuff with death. Death is neutral in my world, but in a lot of worlds it's evil. I feel like you could do a lot of stuff around like having people who are so scared to die, and that they're so deep into that worshiping section of their brain that they kind of like, the screw goes loose, and so they're like, I cannot die, I will make sure I do not die, I will sacrifice to make sure I do not die, and then it snowballs out of there, and that could be like a reason for an evil guy to be evil, or for somebody to be doing something that they're not supposed to. I just think that this opens up a lot of possibilities, and I wanted to offer it to the community that I'm building, which is really fucking cool, to see if any of you guys had any cool ideas of worshiping a god for their mercy. And you could not just worship evil gods for their mercy, you could also worship good gods and neutral gods for their mercy. Like, for example, if somebody's going out hunting, you can make sure, going out hiking or going out camping or going on a trip, you can make sure that there's mercy for them so that they have an easy trip. If you want to make sure that you have like a good workout or something, you could like make a prayer to have mercy on my muscles and stuff. You know, like I feel like the mercy aspect is the other side of the coin of the prayer aspect. I feel like prayer is like, I want it to happen, and mercy is like, I don't want it to happen. And I feel like we can access both sides of this coin to do some like really cool stuff. And then whenever it comes to player characters, I feel like this also gives them a wider range of access to different gods, because most of the time whenever people pick gods that they're going to worship, if they're going to worship a god, they only have a small select few of like good gods and maybe some neutral gods to worship. But there's all these rules about like being chaotic good and only being able to be one of alignment. I think that that's all silly. I think that you should be able to worship in whatever. I think it should be up to the player character, just like I feel like religion should be up to the person, you know? I just feel like that's like a personal choice, so that should be a personal choice of the player character. This opens up the god pool so that maybe you are a mercy monk and you worship the god of death for his mercy because you are a mercy monk. Or you're a grave domain cleric and you worship the god of like the afterlife or whatever, or the god of hell, to give mercy to the people who you send off into the afterlife to make sure they don't go to hell. At the end of the day, I feel like this gives us more options for absolutely no cost. Like, I don't have to buy a book. I don't have to teach anyone anything. I can just be like, hey, you can worship people for their mercy too. And I feel like that is a win-win-win-win in every single scenario. So I wanted to bring it up here. I have interesting stuff in my books that I tried to convey that I didn't necessarily like write specifically down, that I really wish that I would have written down. I really wish that I would have taken a second in my book to say, hey, the reason why this is happening is because they worship him for his mercy, and this is something that you too could do in your game. There's a couple of things in there that I wish I had taken more time to actually like tease out instead of just like throwing it in there. But there's also no place to put them, so whatever. I would absolutely love to hear what you would do with mercying with your evil gods. I love talking to people about gods. Making pantheons is one of my favorite things. It's probably one of my favorite things that I ever did with the Wayward Arrow setting, and it is also what started the Wayward Arrow setting out. And so pantheons are just fun. And there's so many different cool things you can do with them, and such like creation myths. I love creation myths. I love creation myths in real life, but I also love creation myths in D&D and TTRPGs. So if you have anything that you would like to spill the tea on, ew, why did I just say that? If you have anything that you would like to share, I would absolutely love to read it. I will be reading the comments. I will be responding to the comments. And yeah, other than that, if you want to check out my book, the links are in the doobly-doo, but absolutely no pressure. I am currently working on book number 2, which I'm very, very excited about. I finally restarted book number 2 after a large space of burnout. But also, if you want to check out other things written by me or any of my other ideas in a fully fleshed out PDF format for your convenience, that is also in the doobly-doo below as well. But yeah, I really, really appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you listening to my rambles and watching my silly little YouTube videos. We just hit 500 followers, which is like super duper exciting to me because I literally just started this in January, and I cannot wait to continue to give you guys cool advice and cool information and cool things. That's all I want. I just want to do cool stuff. It's just all cool. And expanding into more TTRPGs. That is something that I really want to do. I really, really, really want to play Blades in the Dark. I really want to start a Blades in the Dark campaign that is set in like 30s Galveston. That's really what I want to do. 100%. Yeah. Anyways, I appreciate you guys all so much. Thank you for being here. You're always welcome at my table, and I will see you next week, where hopefully I will be talking about the next loot letter.